And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest and greatest episode of Game Rivals. I'm your host, Maximillian X, and as always with me is the
Engine or bike in the
Ubermensch.
back.
Stupid bike. The Ubermensch,
Oh
the
man.
man without the master plan, the guy who thought nothing would be delayed, Sean Templar. How's it going, Sean?
I do not want to talk about it.
But we're gonna talk about it.
Mm.
We have to talk about it. You know it. I
Then
know
you
it.
will host
Everybody
this
knows it.
episode of the podcast all by yourself today.
Okay, well,
I
this
suddenly
is the
got-
Maximilian X show.
Yeah, I suddenly turned a mute. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I would say lots to talk about, but if you are listening to this episode, I don't know if you know what, I'm just gonna say it on the top of the episode that people at least are aware of it. If you have not seen our special Gamescom live stream when we went live on Twitch on my channel, it is also, as I would be, if I'm pretty sure, as of the moment as this episode hits, we also put it on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out there. You'll have our full impressions of opening night live there for every game that got announced. We're not going to hit up on every game in this episode. We're just going to pick up some of the few that we thought were pretty cool. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about other news in the gaming world that happened last week and the week before, as we always do. Um, but let's start off with just that. So, what were the things that were announced at opening night live for Gamescom that you thought was okay? That's got my attention. That you
Uh,
either weren't expecting or was already announced, but they showed maybe something new, some new elements that you weren't expecting.
well, I like that they announced a new Saints Row, and they're rebooting the franchise.
Top of the show too.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It's set in a fictional city, kind of like a Las Vegas-y kind of place in the desert. I read afterwards that there's a little bit of backlash from the fans that they're not happy
Of
with it
course.
because they expected a little bit more goofiness or something like that because that's been the staple for the series. But Volition has said, no, this is the course that we're going to go on, and we are sticking to our vision, um, which I think is good.
Yeah,
Um,
sticks to your guns.
yeah, it's coming out next year, early next year. I think in February. February is going to be
Mm-hmm.
shaping up to be a busy month next year.
Oh my goodness! Like October wasn't busy enough. They are
Yep,
moving stuff to February, and
yep,
February is just yeah, boy.
yeah, yeah. So that there was like a developer diary thingy they released a couple of days after. It's like 7 minutes. They do some developer interviews. They show a little bit of gameplay. It's really looking it's shaping out to be like a fun game. I mean, it's been a while since we got like a Saints Row. I always liked them, partially because they were goofy and partially because they did other stuff. For example, they allowed you to play the campaign in co-op, which um, GTA never did. Red Dead
Mhm.
Redemption didn't either. So that was always a cool addition. We got a new Marvel game that got announced, which is in development by at Firaxis. Is a tactical turn-based strategy kind of Marvel game. I think if you've played XCOM,
Yeah,
it's a bit in that vein, which I think is also really cool because I one like those games and I like it's a new take on the Marvel games instead of your classic third-person beat 'em up, Uncharted esque whatever game, you know.
yeah. They did say it wasn't going to be because Firaxis also does the XCOM games
Yep.
outside of Civilization, and they said it's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like XCOM.
Mm.
It's definitely not going to be like Civilization, obviously, because it's a Civilization building game. But they did say that it was going to be character driven.
Okay.
You're gonna play as classic Marvel characters, but you'll also have your own original character.
Mm. That's nice.
Yeah. Some people are not that stoked about that. Take that as you will. They've done this before. I think that very subpar Marvel that X-Men game that Silicon Knights did, like one of their last games that they did, um, allowed you to make your own character in like the X-Men universe, but
I
it
have
was
no
kind of
idea. I
crappy.
didn't know.
Yeah, it was years ago,
Hmm.
and it was crappy and reviewed poorly, so
That's
nobody
probably
didn't
why it
want to
never
use
got
it.
my attention.
Yeah, but like people are like, okay, so if it's not like XCOM, that means you can't name your characters, obviously, because they're Marvel characters. It'd be weird if you renamed Wolverine into the Badger or something.
Something like that.
So you're missing out on the thing of naming your foot soldiers after your friends and trying to protect them and not have them permadie. Uh, but outside of that, you have cool things going on in that way. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with that game specifically. They only showed us off a cinematic, so
Yep.
yeah, and I guess it's based off the Midnight Suns SONS instead of SUNS as the game is called. Franchise from Marvel, which has all the mystical and mythical um, characters, like Blade and
Mm.
Constantine and whatnot in there. But they also in the trailer they showed off like Wolverine and stuff like that. He's not part of the mystical crew, so it's a little bit mixed. So that's interesting to see how they're gonna take it, how the approach they're gonna take with that. It's a tactics game, so it's probably gonna be interesting. That's one of them.
Yeah.
One thing that I did really like is what's it called again? Is it TMNT or is it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Yeah, it's TMNT Shredder's Revenge. They
Yeah.
showed a new trailer for that, and you can play as April O'Neil, like classic April O'Neil in like the yellow jumpsuit, which I'm pretty sure never existed in real life, but whatever. And she was using like her microphone and like a camera to like beat on foot soldiers. It's super funny.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's so cool. And they showed like the new key art for the game, but the like I said it in the live stream before is that the art looks a bit lopsided with April on one side.
Hmm.
So I still think there might be another character that they announce. I think I'm not 100% sure. It could be anybody, but it would be nice if they actually added another character in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for the heck of it.
I think Halo Infinite got a release date, December 8th.
December 8th.
Yep.
Finally, it's not complete,
Yeah.
but it's got. I'm still saying that they should have just delayed it.
Well, they considered delaying it again, but they felt like because they cut the co-op campaign, they're going to release it at a later date, and they're going to include the Forge at a later date. So their response was like, "It's a live service game, so we can keep adding content. So this is like the perfect moment to add that content. And if we didn't push that content, we might have had to push the game. So this is like a middle ground in which we can still ship the game this year and don't have to delay it." And have some content we can add further down the line. I'm like, yeah, but this game is kind of stuck in development limbo for years because they announced this game years ago. So it should have been out by now.
Well, it got rebooted.
Yeah. But like it got announced like what, 3 years, 4 years ago?
I think. I think 4 years ago. It was. It
Yeah.
was. It was in the. It was definitely announced in the before four times before we
Yeah.
even knew about the new Xbox consoles
Yeah.
and the naming convention. That is
Yep.
just
Because then it was an
so.
open world Halo game. And
Yeah,
now it's no longer an open world Halo game. It's just more like
open
the
world ish.
yeah the levels give you more freedom to explore.
Yeah.
But when they showed it off last year, it still looked like that open world kind of game.
So we don't know what it. Do we? Did they show off the single player stuff when they showed the last trailer like a couple of months ago at E3?
During E3, they showed like a CG trailer.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we're not gonna see co-op, which I'm
it's
not
a
a big
staple of the
Halo.
series. It needs to be
Thank you.
there.
So I was about to say I'm not a big Halo fan, but I know for a fact that co-op is like a thing because That
Yeah,
is literally the only reason I bought an Xbox
yeah.
360.
That's it. Needs to be there day and date. I mean, you can skip the Forge. I mean, that can come out later, but co-op is like really crucial.
I think both are crucial for two different reasons. Co-op because it's something that's been a staple of the series. Forge is crucial because if you want to give the multiplayer a running start, Forge is the way to go.
Yeah,
But if you don't have any plans to bring out Forge for the foreseeable future, and like say if it's 6 months down the line, I think people are gonna get pretty tired of the multiplayer very quickly and either move on to another game, like Battlefield,
or Call
where
of
you can
Duty.
do crazy stuff, or Call
Yeah.
of Duty, where you can do less crazy stuff. Um, but seriously, you can't ride a tornado and jump out of a jet and
Yeah,
like bazooka your enemy and then jump back into the jet and fly
yeah,
off into the tornado.
yeah.
You can't do that in Call of Duty.
I'm
And
so looking forward to Battlefield.
we'll talk about Call of Duty and what we've been playing, but uh, like yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with Halo if the single player doesn't hit and if the
Well,
multiplayer doesn't hit.
yeah, because I think I mentioned this in the previous episode, is that the multiplayer is free to play. So you're basically paying 60 or 70 bucks for a single player game. And
With no co-op.
with no co-op. And I mean, everybody knows that the multiplayer is great because they did the technical test and everybody loved every second of it. So we already know that the multiplayer is going to be great. But they really need to justify that 60 bucks now. They really need to make sure that that campaign is amazing because they are charging you 60 bucks for it.
But they don't.
Because
They don't have to. They don't have to justify it.
why not?
Game Pass.
Yeah, okay, but if people don't get Game Pass,
But I'm gonna say this: like, at this point we have to basically acknowledge the fact that anybody that wants to play Halo has Game Pass
I
because they're
hope
gonna
they
get
do.
because they're gonna get unless they're like completely uneducated about Game Pass, they have Game Pass.
Yeah,
Or if they want to be like, well, we wanted to support the developer, so I'll buy a copy.
yeah,
That's on them. If they have that, that's fine. But they're still charging 60 for something that is basically not complete,
yep,
which is even more like if you're saying like the multiplayer is separate, fine, whatever. The like Forge is part of the multiplayer, and if that's going to be treated as a live game, then it doesn't matter. But if you're treating it as a whole package, then it gets kind of weird, right? Because if you're treating it as a whole package, it's not complete. You can't do co-op multiplayer. I'm pretty sure that 3 or 6 months down the line, people are not going to go back in just to do co-op multiplayer unless you attach achievements to co-op multiplayer.
yeah. One thing, the reason is
I'm
why
pretty sure you
people.
don't have to skull hunt in the single player for the multiplayer
I don't
because that
hope
would be
so.
weird.
But I think that a lot of people will get the game physically because people want physical games. I mean, if you look at a simple, how do you say that? A simple,
Simple wish.
no, in Dutch you say steekproef.
Oh, good grief! What's that word in English?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. I forgot the English word.
A poll.
Yeah, well, if you take like a sample of
Yeah,
of
sample.
yeah, if
Yeah,
you take like
sample.
a sample of a group or population, let's go with Instagram in this case. I mean, you know that a lot of people like posting their physical games on there. So for besides the fact that they're like, look at me, I have Halo, and then a physical box. Besides that element, a lot of
Mhm.
people would want it probably physically because they can have it in their collection, or maybe they already have all the Halos on disc and they want this one to be in the collection, or maybe Microsoft is doing a cool collector's edition or a steel case. So I think actually a lot of people will buy the physical version because it's the physical version. They have something tangible in their hand. Otherwise, the Xbox Series S would be selling like hot dogs uh, and not sitting on store shelves as we
Well,
speak.
depending on where you are, it's selling
Yeah,
like
but
hot
like
dogs
in
in Japan.
yeah, but like in Europe, it is like I mean, I probably bet you that I can order an Xbox Series S right now, which says a lot.
Yeah. Speaking of special things,
Yes.
so at the open night live where they showed off the release date and the whatnot. They also showed off a pretty sweet looking Elite controller,
Yes.
which is saying a lot for me because I am not really into that kind of stuff. Um, but they also showed off a fancy Xbox One. Did I say
Xbox
Xbox
One.
One?
Yeah.
Xbox Series X. Gosh darn it, Xbox with your stupid naming convention. Even they kind of secretly acknowledged that their naming convention is stupid
Yep.
because it like during Gamescom they kept calling it the ninth generation of consoles. So even there, like we're not going to mess this up. We're just saying the ninth generation of consoles.
Which is even more confusing.
No kidding. Uh, they showed off a spanking new Halo 20th anniversary um, edition that went on sale for 550. Wait, hang on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
looked
went for
pretty cool. It's
550,
a limited edition Halo Xbox, but
which is coming out in
November.
November 15th,
Yeah,
and it says that you'll be able to download the game. So I think it
it's a
comes
digital
with a
code.
download code,
Yep.
which is super weird. Why? But whatever. Um, because it's going to be part of Game Pass. Why not just say I'm giving you like 3 4 months of Game Pass? But sure. Because probably the download code is cheaper to do than giving away free free Game
Probably,
Pass
yeah, because then
codes
they're just
for
giving away
months.
one game instead of hundreds games.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Um, it sold out
I'm not surprised.
the day it went live. It sold out. At least from what I could, because the Dutch website, the Dutch Xbox website, does not show where it's available. So I don't know if the Dutch website does not show it on purpose, or if it wasn't set up yet, or if it's not available to pre-order in the Netherlands just yet. But if you go to the American website, like on Xbox.com, it's not available to buy. So you can't buy it from Microsoft Store. Don't even bother going to the other stores because it's sold out. Because guess what? Scalpers got to it again,
What
and
a
they're selling
surprise.
it for like $1,000 on eBay, which is still weird because I'm pretty sure that November is we're entering we're in September, so September, October, November. That's still like more than 30 days. So I'm pretty sure that eBay is going to be taking down a lot of these entries because
Yep.
they have like a policy of like you can't sell pre-orders on something that is 30 more than 30 days out, I think, or more than 60 days out. So I'm pretty sure those are down by now. If they're not, then they found a loophole to do it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were selling pre-orders for that thing for like 1,000 and more. I
I
think one of
saw
the highest that I saw was 1,200
I
bucks.
saw one on Marktplaats, which is like the Dutch Craigslist, and it
Oh
was
no.
1,100 euros.
Yeah, they can go eat it. That is absolutely unacceptable. It's a fancy looking Xbox with a fancy looking controller and a game code, and that's it. You
It's not
should
gonna
not
do
be
anything
paying like
different.
to.
Yeah.
It's not going to do anything different. You should not get that for that price.
Nope.
You see it for that price. Do not get it. Like just wait for it to like come down in value in the eyes of the scalpers and then pick it up. But other than that, do not pick it up at that price. Like at most, if you spend 600 euros on it,
You know what? How
still
Microsoft,
stupid, but fine.
yeah, but how Microsoft can counteract this is taking away the limited part and just flushing the market with those consoles.
Do they
That
even have the console reserves to even do that?
well, they probably just reskinned consoles they were already planning on
No, I
manufacturing.
think they're not skins. There's like I think actual molding going on with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but like, I mean, instead of making 20 million black Xboxes, they're like, you know what? We'll just take away a couple of, we'll take away 1 million from that supply, and then we'll just put a different shell on it because the inside's still the same. And we're like, well, then we'll sell 19 black Xboxes and 1 million of the Halo Infinite Special Edition Xbox, whatever it's called.
Mm. Yeah, they ain't gonna do that. Plus, again, I don't know. It's. I get why they're doing it. I just feel like something like this is so poorly timed,
Yeah.
especially considering how hard it is to manufacture stuff.
Yep.
Um.
And I
So
read that
yeah,
it's going to get
that's
even harder because the GPU market is seeing increase in waiting time because I think COVID cases in China are rising, meaning that
Yeah, because the Delta variant hit there
yeah,
too. So
so factories are not fully staffed, meaning for or at least the article I read said that GPU shipments are expected to decline because of it, and they hope to get it back to the level it was at the end of the month. But who knows what might happen? But then, like my second thought is like, well, it'll probably not just be related to GPU shipments; it'll probably be related to all sorts of other components as well. So we might even see a supply shortage again, or a longer lasting supply shortage on PlayStations and Xboxes.
yeah.
Because I really feel, I don't know how the Xbox side is, but I really feel that supply for PS5 has finally gotten to the level that I see a lot more people around me finally getting their console.
Yep.
Whereas at the beginning
True.
of the year, it was like a unicorn.
It still kind of feels like a unicorn. It's just less so.
Yeah. Because I
Yeah.
see like a lot of people sharing, hey, I got a PS5. I finally got a PS5. I'm like, well, I'm really happy for those people.
The finally is kind of brings it home, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because that thing came out in, when did it come out again?
In November.
November. Jeez, the freaking reason. It's almost November 2021, people.
Yep.
Oh boy.
A- And when people said, I remember scalpers
Mhm.
scaring people because then they would put up their scalped PS5 and they would say, well, you can buy it now for €1,000, or you can wait till next year because the supply will never get better before May or June. And when I read those things, I'm like, I don't respond to threats. You're talking. This is just utter bullshit what you're saying right now. But apparently, those guys turned out to be true.
Mhm.
Or-
And then some.
Yeah,
And speaking of people being true, we got to see a little bit more of Horizon Forbidden West.
well, literally
We also
nothing.
got to see a delay,
Yep.
which you knew was gonna happen, but you were in denial town.
I
Like
was
when
not
they
in
said that it was coming.
denial.
Here's the thing: when they said that it was coming out this year, I laughed because I knew that they were gonna delay the game. I knew that they were gonna do that because there was no way in this climate, in this environment, that they were going to be able to bring out something that they announced late last year that only had a CG trailer and it having come out this year. No way that was going to happen. And we're right. It's coming out February
18th.
18th.
Yep.
So that's another one for the February pile.
Yeah, but like my reasoning behind it was if they delay the game, then they have nothing for this holiday season. So they're going into their first proper holiday season with no system seller, which, if you think about it, is a
Sometimes you
solid
have to take the
argument.
hit. I mean, sometimes you have to take the hit. Like if they were planning on bringing it out this year, that's fine.
Hmm.
But realistically, that was not going to happen ever. Like
I don't
realistically, they
know.
were just like there. You can aim for a date. Doesn't
I
mean that
think
you're going to hit
if
that date.
if COVID wasn't around, they might have pulled it off.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's not impossible. I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm saying that in the current environment, them thinking that they were going to be able to do it
Yep.
was a bit of a stretch.
Yep.
But under normal circumstances, they should have been able to hit it, even if the delay was like till I don't know December.
Yep.
They technically would have still been able to hit it, but yeah, not the way things are right now. I will say this: they did also announce a finally a proper update to Horizon Zero Dawn for the PlayStation 5.
Yep.
Did you check it out?
No, no, no. I was intending on playing Horizon Zero Dawn like in October before Forbidden West came out. I was kind of like thinking, okay, they'll probably bring it out in November. So
Mm.
like if I play it, I'll do it like shortly before the game comes out. But seeing it got delayed now, I think I'll just might hold off. It's a 60 FPS 4K checkerboard patch.
Mhm.
Um, it looks
So
pretty
it's
smooth.
basically a beefed up version of what they did with the PlayStation 4 Pro version, because that was also like
Yeah.
that wasn't 60 frames. That was I think 30 frames, but 4K checkerboarding as well.
Yep. But the
Yeah,
funny thing
that's
is like I'm seeing that with Days Gone now because Days Gone got a similar patch, and maybe it's because I play that game when I stream it, so maybe it's because I'm pretty close on the screen because normally I play it on my TV and I'm not as close on my TV as I'm on my monitor. But
mhm.
like I cannot see that it's checkerboarding. There's not like anything that makes it look less. It really, really looks nice. I mean, in Days Gone, there's so much detail in Deacon's jacket, for example, that you're like, when I see that, I'm like, holy crap! I didn't even notice these details on my TV. It's almost like I'm playing a whole new version of the game, even though they only unlock the frame rate. You know?
I think the reason why you're not seeing it is because it's moving at a smooth frame rate. That's like the plus to the 60 frames thing.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I'm because if you, I'm pretty sure that Digital Foundry will make you see those frames.
Oh yeah, they do with all those games. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they release one for Horizon in a few days.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. That's pretty cool. There was one more game that I wanted to highlight. I don't know if there's another game that you wanted to highlight, but I just put it in the chat, and mostly because it came like apparently this was announced back in 2019, but nobody paid attention to it, probably because it's from an Asian studio. That not a lot of, which is weird because apparently the same studio made an MMO called, oh my goodness, I forgot the name. Fudge. Is it here in the article? Da, 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 da. It's not in the article. Super weird. They made like this very popular MMO that is apparently very popular, and I told my friend about it, and it's like, and he told me, he said like, yeah, they're the makers of this MMO. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what that is, and he's like, the biggest MMO ever. I'm like, yeah, that does not say anything to me.
Nope.
That doesn't mean anything to me. I forgot what the gosh darn MMO is. It's not even in the Black Desert.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. Is that now coming to console as well? I think it got announced last year
How the heck do you know about Black Desert?
because it was shown off during either the Xbox event last year or the PlayStation event last year because it looked stupidly beautiful.
Yeah, it's from the same studio.
Yeah.
We know that Dokev is not coming out until sometime after 2022. So this is like if you've seen that trailer, for one, it's a long trailer. For
Yeah.
two, like even while we were watching, even both of us were like, okay, this is not a Western developer. This is
Yeah.
definitely an Asian developer
Yeah.
because it either is a Chinese developer
Or
or
Korean.
it's a South Korean developer because it is so incredibly flashy. And
Yep.
then I listened to the music very closely and like, oh, this sounds so like K-pop that I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Korean developer.
Yep.
And lo and behold, it was a Korean developer.
Yeah. I think, and as we've talked about this before, is that I think we're seeing the rise of the Asian developers, to put it that way, because I mean it's always been Japan, and so
Hmm.
now we're seeing more developers from Asia making games, such as in China and in South Korea and probably other countries as well. But like a signature trademark of all those stuff, all the stuff we've seen so far, is that it just looks too good to be true. Like it almost looks like that they're focusing all their effort on making it look pretty, but then
Hmm.
either the
Hmm.
story or the gameplay will just suck, and it's more like a really flashy tech demo. Because I mean, like that's the only vibe I'm getting. I'm like, this is too pretty to be true. Because we've had this so many times that a game looks too good to be true, and then in the end, it just ends up sucking because they just focused on the flashy bits and not on the core bits.
Hmm. Yeah, that's absolutely true. You know what's also apparently absolutely true? That Black Desert came out in December 2014,
Wow.
and I never heard of it my until my buddy brought it up.
Oh wow. Okay.
And apparently, it has a mobile version.
I am not surprised.
It's it's on basically everything except Switch, which is fine. Which is fine. Like I've played MMOs on the Switch, and if it's not optimized, it just really it's really super choppy and not really pretty,
Mm,
and doesn't really play like well. Like there's a free to play MMO on there. I forgot what the name is. It's so not memorable as a game to begin with. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't even remember what the name of the game is, but I tried to play it and it was so choppy and not interesting, and like the gameplay didn't feel so good compared to like say Final Fantasy 14, which is like made to be played with the controller as well.
yeah.
And this MMO also technically was made to be played with a controller. It just didn't feel as smooth.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm actually kind of surprised that, like, that alone is more surprising to me that they have this on everything under the sun, but they never bothered to port it to Switch. So
Maybe it's a technical limitation.
it's on gosh darn Android and iOS. What limitation is there?
I don't know.
Ah, yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. It's played too many MMOs lately. How did MMOs get a resurgence? By the way,
I think because people are sitting at home all day because of COVID.
no, I mean like before COVID, like it started getting a resurgence.
I have no idea. Maybe people were just tired of single because there's been this predicted trend that the industry is moving away from single player games and that they're heading more towards multiplayer social games. But then there, luckily, we have companies such as Nintendo and Sony proving that that's
Everybody
not
wrong.
true. Yeah, making great single player games.
Exactly. Yeah. Is there any other game in the list that you want to talk about? Because there's not a lot to talk about Dokef except for watch the trailer, and then
No,
you can see
not
for
really.
yourself.
No. I do want
Yeah,
to say that the day before opening night live, Microsoft had an event, and it's just such a
do we
shame.
really have to talk about that?
I
Come
just
on.
want to say that like it's a shame, it's a missed opportunity. I mean,
It was
they could have done so much more.
you know what I don't get is if you were going to do that, why have a presence on opening night live, right?
I
Like what's
told
the
you
point?
because the reach is probably bigger.
Then don't have your own event
Yeah,
the day before.
but like the day before, they can focus on stuff like Forza Horizon or on Age of Empires or on I don't know something else, and
But they
then
still showed off Age of Empires during opening night live, and it was a better showing.
yeah, I was about to say that. But like, I mean, you want to announce Halo on opening night live and not on your own show because more people tune into opening night live than your own show.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, like I
I'm not
wait.
saying they shouldn't have been at opening night live. I'm saying they shouldn't have had their own show.
They shouldn't no
That's all I'm saying.
with the way they delivered that opening show. They should of their own show. They should not have done it because it was really first off they were
Cringy.
really stretching it out with content. They did like
Hmm.
stuff that nobody's waiting for, and secondly, it was cringy as hell. I mean, they need to stop treating gamers like little kids. Don't get people that think that are funny or say stuff that is supposed to be cool or funny. We're adults. You can treat us like normal people. You don't have to treat us with silk gloves. You don't have to look at us behind glass. If you say something normal to us, we'll give you a normal response back. 9 out of 10 cases. There are the outliers, of course. But like if you
Hmm.
keep on making that cringy stuff, oh, it is such a it's uh, just and they
Okay,
do
let's
it
move.
not only at the Xbox show, they do it
Oh
like
no no
at
no no.
all game shows. You know, when for example, I think it's the Dice Awards that gets presented by Jessica Chobot and Greg Miller.
Hmm.
It's like they do the same thing. They try to be overly funny, but they're not funny. You know, like I'm like, dude, you're not a comedian. Just shut up. It's an award show. Just hand out the awards.
Isn't it kind of amazing how Jeff Keighley's the only one that's kind of keeping it classy when it comes to
Yeah,
gaming stuff?
and I love him for it.
He keeps it surprisingly classy. Like they had a famous violinist come and perform music from Tales of Arise
Yeah,
in full cosplay, no
that
less,
was really
which
cool.
was pretty cool to see. Um, so yeah, it's like okay, that's a thing. Dead Mouse making a game, that's also a thing.
You know what's weird about Dead Mouse? When
Yeah.
he opened up, when he introduced
Oh right,
himself,
how he
he
introduced
said
himself.
Dead Mouse 5, and then for the rest of the segment, he kept on saying Dead Mouse. I'm like, because he said like, my name is Dead Mouse 5, so you better tell your friends that it's dead. And then the rest of the whole segment, he's like Dead Mouse.
Dead Mouse.
I'm like, what?
Make up your mind, man. Make up your
Yeah,
mind.
man.
Yeah. So I guess that's it for the Gamescom stuff because we don't really have a lot of stuff to talk about outside of like opening night live and like the
Yeah,
dialogue
yeah.
stuff. But stuff that got announced around it though. during that period of time is kind of interesting. So we already talked about um, the Xbox, but PlayStation apparently is also doing something interesting. They have revived the PlayStation 5. There's a new revision going out, at least as of this episode. It's only available in Australia and in Japan. But I'm
I think
assuming
it's
this is
supposed
going to
to
be
be the
the
normal one.
it's going to replace the normal one. So I think this is like version 1.0. It's like 1.1.
Yep.
And YouTuber Austin Evans did a teardown of the console and did a little bit of inspecting of the console. And from what they were able to find out and able to show us was, well, for one, it's lighter, like about 300 grams lighter.
Yep.
And there's a reason for that. The second thing is it runs a few degrees hotter, but
Four to five degrees. Yeah.
that could also just be an instance thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it's already that much of a differentiator is interesting. And we also know why, because when they opened it up, they found out that the heatsink is a lot smaller.
Yeah, it's missing a part of the heatsink compared to the OG PS5.
Hmm.
Um, and it's also, I think, made from a different material because the OG one is you see a lot of copper on it,
Yeah, this
whereas
was
on
not
the
copper.
yeah, I think it's something else like aluminum or something.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of people are making a big deal out of it. I can understand the argument, but I think in this case it's more like the PS5 is probably just over engineered, and this is a way for Sony to cut cost.
Oh, it's
Um,
definitely a way to cut costs.
yeah, I mean, like to cut cost, and is still within the tolerances they probably have. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it because they don't want a red ring of death on their hands. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's the same with like with dual sense drift. People
Hmm.
made a big deal about it. Nobody's talking about it right now.
Yeah, because it's not a big deal yet. Like stuff like that takes time for it to like snowball. Like
Yeah,
even
but
with even with Joy-Con, it like people got it like the first couple of months, but it didn't become a big deal until like a year later.
when warranties start to pass. Yeah,
Exactly.
but like in this case, I mean, if you compare it to the heatsink that they have in the PS5 and you compare it to previous consoles and heatsinks, it's still a big, beefy heatsink what's in there. I mean, like I've taken apart a PS4 and a PS4 Pro. The heatsinks on those are like even a PS3. The heatsinks are really tiny compared to what's in the PS5. So like
Yeah.
if you compare it, it's like holy crap, that's like a huge. It's a murder weapon. That's how big it is.
I mean, yeah, you could still bludgeon someone with it, but
It'll just be
I don't know if
300
it.
grams lighter this time.
Yeah.
The blow.
Oh, good grief! Why are we talking about
I
this
don't
in
know.
such a way? I don't know. It's
But
I
yeah, I
blame you.
mean, it's the way. No, easy of you to say. I think it's just. I mean, these things happen. I mean, we'll probably get like a slim revision in 2 years, and then it'll the whole heatsink will have a completely different design.
I just hope that they know what they're doing. Um,
Probably. I mean,
and not
Sony doesn't.
like
I can't remember Sony really having like repair callback quality programs with their consoles in the past. M- Not like on the scale that Microsoft did with the Red Ring of Death.
truth, but they never had something as big as the Red Ring of Death.
Yeah, but like I
They had
mean, it
issues,
speaks to
just not that big.
it speaks to the experience you have as a hardware manufacturer that you don't cheap out that much on components.
Hmm. Maybe not on components, but on design,
Yeah, the design is still something.
though.
Yeah.
um.
I think we're just used
Unfortunately,
to square boxes. That's what we're used to.
yeah. I mean, well, squares and rectangles. Oh yeah, you can
Nobody
see
can see that. Yeah. Oh,
it.
no, they can.
Rectangle. Um. Speaking of unfortunate stuff, there's a developer, like a really small developer, that recently put out one of their latest games. It's like this walking simulator horror game, um, called what's it called again? Summer of '58. They put it out on Steam, and it's been getting a lot of positive reviews. There is one problem, however. So Steam has this like really pretty. decent return policy for digital games in that if you buy a game within 14 days of purchase and less than 2 hours of gameplay, you can refund it, no questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Summer of 58 is a game that you can finish in an hour and a half.
Uh-oh.
So a lot of people have been playing it and returning it. They'll give
Wow.
it a positive review, but they've been returning it for a full refund.
Oh shit.
And a lot of people have been taking advantage of that. So the developer is like, you know what? I was going to work on another game after this, but this is not funding that game. Like this new game that I put out, it's not funding it. Can't do it.
Wow.
So I'm not developing games anymore. So thanks. You ruined another perfectly fine indie developer. And it's like, okay, so I get the reason why the 2 hour thing is great. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're playing like a multi-hour game, like a 60-hour game, and you're and the first 10 hours you're like, okay, or the first hour you're like,
I'm not feeling this.
okay, I'm not feeling this, I'm returning this.
Yeah.
That's fine, right? But if it's an indie title, I don't think that the 2 hours should apply because some indie titles are not 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like maybe like if you look at, say, for example, Journey, you could probably power through in if you really wanted to do, you probably can do it in 2 hours. I would the first time I played through, I took my time and it still took me only 3 hours to play through it. Um, so it is possible to play like a really short indie title and then just refund it. And it's like it's not even like an expensive game because even like I went to Steam afterwards and I checked it out and I bought it. For one, it's on discount right now until like the end of the first week of September. And two, it's like a 40% discount. The game is not even $10. Like right now, if you buy it, it's not even $6. Why are you being so cheap? Like if
Because
you
people
played the
probably
game,
can. They're abusing the
exactly.
system.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. They're
Yeah.
abusing the system. The system actually, if like Steam was very serious about it being very fair to both the developer and the purchaser, it shouldn't be a 2 hour time limit. What it probably should do is, if you want to do the 2 hour time limit, that's fine. Do a check for the because Steam uses achievements, and I'm pretty sure when you beat that game, an achievement pops up that says that you beat the game the first time around.
Yep.
Let it check for that before someone tries to refund it. Oh, I see. You're trying to refund the game that you completed. I'm sorry, you finished that game. You clearly enjoyed it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have finished that game. No refund.
Thank you for supporting the developer.
Yeah, no, but come on. Like, if you're not supporting the small developers, you're gonna miss out on like incredible stuff. Like, if
Hmm.
it wasn't for small developers, we wouldn't have like Cave Story is from a one man team.
Never heard of
Um,
it, but that's
uh,
okay.
it's like one of the OG like indie games that brought the whole indie term into light. It's like had like a multiple versions of it since because it's like that popular. Um, like you wouldn't have Axiom Verge, which is made by one person. You wouldn't have
Hades.
Hades, which is done by a small team. Although to be fair, it's a longer than 2 hours that game. You wouldn't
Yeah.
have Stardew Valley. You wouldn't have Shovel Knight. You wouldn't have any games that are like short or fun or like different because they literally cannot um, they literally cannot live off the fact that people are doing refunds on it. And if you're gonna be petty and refund a game that's less than $10 just because you finished it within the 2 hour limit, that is super petty, in my opinion.
I think a lot of people will use the argument that it's a principle matter. But I mean, think about others in this case. Don't about your own. Don't think about. I mean, like you've probably blown $6 on something useless, like 3 cans of Red Bull or that stupid. What's it called? Those gaming powders that you drink.
Mm.
I mean, like whatever label they slap on it. I mean, it's
What gamer
basically
fuel?
what, yeah, whatever. I mean, like it's basically pre-workout with a label, with a gamer's label on
Yeah.
it, no added sugar, all natural ingredients. But when you probably take a cup of that, you'll bouncing around the house the whole night because it's basically pre-workout. I mean, like you're probably blowing money on that. So what's $6?
Yeah,
And I know that $6 is a lot in some countries or for some people. I mean, it could be the difference between having a meal or not. So I am not downplaying that. But if you are like a modest income person and you can buy multiple games a year, I mean, and if you have the power and and the ability to support someone like an indie developer, just do it.
exactly.
Just eat a pizza less a week. Just do it.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to bring it up, and when stuff like that happens, like it brings the fire
It's a
because
shame. It's a literal shame because literally you are destroying an industry.
exactly, which super sucks. And
Yeah.
it's not like indie developers have like a leg up or anything. They're already doing stuff out of pocket.
Yep.
They don't have a publisher to fall back on. They're not. It's not. Nobody's fronting the bill. They're doing it because they love doing it,
Yep.
and you're just destroying
I'll
that.
tell you a quick story about Stardew Valley because I read Jason Schreier's book Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and in one of the
Hmm.
stories they are talking about Stardew Valley, and Stardew Valley was made by one person, the initial game, and that person kept working on the game. He had no job, he had no income, while his wife worked multiple jobs just to pay the bills, just to keep food on the table. So that because and she believed in him so much, she's like, I believe in him. Whenever this game comes out, it will probably be a good game, and people will buy it, and then all the time and the effort that I put into this will pay off. Eventually, the guy does start getting a job because it becomes really hard. But eventually, when Stardew Valley comes out, and along the way, a smaller publisher, tags on and says, "Hey, we'll help you out with the publishing," and blah 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 blah. The dude's basically a millionaire now. um, he doesn't spend or live like a millionaire. He just lives like normal. But the fact that people supported him, and the fact that his wife kept on working multiple jobs just so that he could work on his game, gave us an amazing game like Stardew Valley. So, like
Exactly.
in those cases, an indie developer came out with an amazing game that a lot of people know and played and probably enjoyed as well. And if we do these petty things like refund the game because we finished it in 90 minutes, well, we will miss out on the next Stardew Valley.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm still gonna try and figure out how I'm gonna play this game because it does not run on GeForce now. So I'll have to actually download it to my PC and play it there. But I'll let you know how it is. It's a horror game, so it probably won't end well for me.
You should probably stream it. You need to stream it.
No, I can't stream it. My PC is not strong enough for
Well, then put it on your new rig. We'll find a way. We'll emulate it.
it. Yeah, speaking of emulating things that have been out over and 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 over again, Skyrim! Yay! The favorite re-releasing punching bag of the game industry is 10 years old this year, and they're celebrating that by bringing out a 10th anniversary special edition for PlayStation 5 and the Xbox consoles. Just kidding. I'm not gonna make a mistake. I'm just saying that, and then you can figure out which consoles I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised it took them this long. I expected them to be there with launch of the new consoles, but yeah,
No,
because
but
it's
they had to
10,
add some. They had to add some flares to it.
like
Make it
fishing and
special,
stuff like that.
like fishing.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, I never finished Skyrim because the game bugged on me in a quest, and then I had put a lot of hours into it, and because it bugged out in the quest, I was like, you know what? I don't have the patience for this anymore. But I cannot imagine a game from that long ago looking decent on a current gen console or the next gen console. I mean,
I mean, on PC it does if you're
i-
downloading
i-
one of the
i-
high the high
yeah,
pa- the
the
high
mods,
quality texture pack
yeah,
mods and stuff like that. Yeah, sure.
yeah, but like on a PS5 or a Series X, I mean, no.
Yeah, I think outside of like the added content, it's basically running on the same engine as the definitive edition or whatever that came out like 3 years ago or so.
I have no idea. I know that
Yeah, I think that's basically what it is. It's basically that same version, except they added fishing and a bunch of other stuff.
friend of the show, Robin, his wife, has a platinum for Skyrim. So hats off to her for putting all the time and effort into it. I could never do it, but who
Every time I
knows?
hear about her gaming achievements, I feel less adequate as a
but
gamer. Gosh
that
darn it.
that's the beauty of it. We're all gamers, no matter our gender or background. We can all just enjoy this hobby together, and I
Yeah,
think
and we can all get humiliated in the exact
I
same
think
way.
it's super cool that he and his wife both play games. I mean, now it may probably less because they have a kid, but
Yeah.
it's super cool that they can. And I mean, I think Ratchet and Clank was her favorite game, so she was super excited when a new Ratchet and Clank got announced. I haven't checked in with Robin about it yet, but he probably had to watch over the little baby a lot while she was playing Ratchet and Clank.
I don't think Ratchet and Clank is that long, so it
It's
wouldn't be
around
that hard to platinum.
13 hours for a platinum, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So what
I
is
like
that
to
like?
see you watch over a
Was
kid for
that like a
13 hours.
weekend?
Well, I like to see you do it first with a little
I
crying
used to.
baby.
Hey, I used to watch. Well, not unsupervised, but I used to watch my little niece when she was a baby, and I was like still a little kid. Okay, again, not unsupervised.
I was about to say that. How did that end up for her?
No, no, no. It's fine. My mom was
Moving
there.
on.
Moving on. Some breaking news. I
Oh,
thought this was going to be a little bit short, but breaking news. If you check in the chat, um, so I think we talked. I think I talked about it during the Twitch stream. I'm just bringing it up again, real short. But Fortnite is doing weird stuff, and one of the weird
yeah.
stuff that they're doing is that they added um, a what is it called again?
A
Um,
memorial service or something?
like not a memorial service, but they added like this museum of human rights, specifically surrounding Martin Luther King Jr. and the March on Washington. So like you can go into Fortnite, say I want to go to the march, it'll teleport you into a waiting room with a bunch of other people, and then you can walk around, recreate a slight recreation of Washington D.C. with the reflecting pool and the Lincoln Memorial, and there's like this big screen in front of you that displays like the entire "I Have a Dream" speech in
Hmm.
full. There are mini games around it that you can do with other people that are there. And as long as you're in that area for 20 minutes, so basically the entire speech, you get like this spray that you can use in the game to tag walls that says DC63.
I admire the idea. I just don't know if
That I do.
Fortnite is the best game to do this. I mean,
Exactly.
it's probably because Fortnite is super popular. So if you're looking at a reach point of view, like how can I reach as much souls as I can, then
Yep.
Fortnite's the most obvious choice. But if you're looking for the proper game to do it, I would rather say this fits more in with an Assassin's Creed because they've been doing like these tours in their games, like in the Egyptian version, like in what was it called? Assassin's Creed
Origins.
Origins, yeah. There or in Odyssey, you had this whole archaeological non-combat mode where you could just explore the whole world, and it was basically like an encyclopedia of exploring the game. You know, you could find, because they accurately build worlds, you could actually learn stuff while you were just exploring the game instead of, and combat was disabled. So on your
Hmm.
own pace, you would have this unique experience. I think it's also in Valhalla. It's something they just will add to all the games going forward. I would
I
say
didn't
that
know
it's
that.
a perfect addition to something like that because it's educational. But I think in this case, it's more like how do you reach as much people as we can? Well, we'll throw in Fortnite.
Yeah. So they also kind of messed up with that when they started off
Oh,
because people were able to use any emotes that they wanted. Well, not any emotes. They blocked a few emotes,
yeah.
and they have specific emotes that you can only use in that mode.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for example, just sitting down or like protesting, like with a sign and stuff
Mm-hmm.
that says "Dream" on it. And yeah, there were a lot of people doing a lot of weird stuff really quickly, and it took them a day to take that all out and be like, "Oh yeah, we were sorry that we kind of left that in. We're banning all that stuff now, so you can't use those like random emotes." because people are like doing like weird dances with weird characters. There's like this one video that was on Twitter where a dude was like, when you get into the game area first, you're being like glided into like the reflecting pool area.
Hmm.
So you're like kind of like flying and then you land down. And there's this one where like the Joker is doing this dance I don't know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so bad. That's so bad. Why can you do this, right?
Yep.
Like absolutely disrespectful stuff. So they took that all out, and now it's not exciting anymore. Um, so yeah, it's super weird. But that's not the weird thing that I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to bring it up because
Oh,
that alone was already weird. And as if like Fortnite couldn't be more weirder, Will Smith is going to be in Fortnite
what?
as Mike Lowry from
Oh,
Bad Boys.
that's cool.
Yeah, but it's his likeness. So it's not like, oh, it's a character called Mike Lowry who happens to be black. No, it's Will Smith's likeness,
But that's what you
but
would
portraying
want.
his character as Mike Lowry.
Yeah, but that's what you would want.
It's still super weird though, because they've never
Why?
done this before. Like they've had fictional characters who are actual factual fictional characters.
Hmm.
Like the aforementioned Joker. They have Thanos in there, although you can't play as Thanos anymore.
They had
You could
Iron
play.
Man,
Okay, to be fair,
Batman.
there's only one other time that they've done this, and that is with John Wick.
Yep.
But with John Wick, it kind of makes sense because John Wick is kind of a cartoon character to begin with. I mean, you don't rack up a body count like that, and people still think that you're like a normal person.
I remember back in the day, the funny part about the John Wick skin is that you could only get the John Wick skin in two ways. You could either buy it, but nobody bought it, or
Mhm.
you had to grind to get it. But if you had to grind to get it, you would become a really good player because you would put a lot of time in the game. So we would always know because we played Fortnite in the beginning with the same friends I play Warzone with. We always knew in the beginning if we encountered John Wick, we would always run away because we're like, that guy's really good or that player is
Mhm.
really good. So it's no use fighting against him or her because they're going to whoop your ass. So you might as well just run off and hope somebody else kills it. So it was kind of like in the movies where everybody's like, oh, it's John Wick. It had that effect.
Yeah. So yeah, Mike Lowry in Fortnite.
I
That's
cannot wait.
that's
I'm
still gonna be
really,
super. I don't
yeah,
think I didn't open the thing. Yeah, yeah. It does have an image of it, so I don't know. Like the link is in the chat if you've seen it
I'll
already.
have a look in a bit.
But it is legit straight up like '90s Will Smith, like super like fit and like with the with the clean mustache and the sunglasses
Nice.
and the equipment. So yeah, it's Mike Lowry, all right. I don't know if
I'm
he
not
actually.
surprised that he does
I
this
don't.
because, yeah,
I don't think he does the voice for it. So
that's a shame.
yeah, at least it doesn't say so here. It doesn't say like that he provides like the voice for
I
it.
mean, like Will Smith is everybody knows him from acting, but I think he's one of the most expensive paid actors in Hollywood, and that's why he doesn't appear in a lot of movies anymore because he's just so really expensive. Um,
That's one of
so
the reasons.
so he's been diversifying his portfolio a lot. So he has like a big YouTube channel. He's on TikTok. I remember he was part of some sort of commercial for F1 where he took Lewis Hamilton hostage and he was supposed to drive in the F1 car instead of Lewis Hamilton in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix a couple of years ago. So like he's doing a lot more with media than just movies, and that's cool because I used to watch his YouTube channel for a while. He used to make these cool vlogs. So
Yeah.
he's just branching out into other stuff. So in a way, I'm not surprised that he's doing this.
Oh no.
I think it's really cool because he's
Yeah.
also doing it in his own way. It's not like how it used to be with video game movie games in the past that they would capture the likeliness and the voice of the actor, but it was just like this really strict format, really corporate, like this is what we want you to do and this is the only thing you can do, and not
Yeah.
letting them give their own input.
Oh my good. I'm sorry. It's just so weird.
I
It's just
know,
it's super weird. It's super weird.
I know.
I think that's about it in terms of news.
All right.
Like I said, light on articles, but you know us, we can talk forever when it comes to video games um, and video game news. So I would say stick around, and we'll be right back with what we've been playing. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the last segment, as always, what we've been playing. So, Sean Templar, what have you been playing?
I've continued my quest on finishing games. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if I mentioned it this the last time, but I think I talked about last time that I finished Mafia Definitive Edition
Yes, you did.
and that I was playing Control. I think.
Yes, you did. I think you said you finished Control.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, at least I finished Control, and then I started playing Mass Effect 2 again. I had made like a little start at the beginning, so I'm continuing on Mass Effect 2.
How
The
far are you
Legendary
in?
Edition. I think I'm around the halfway
Who's
mark.
your Who's your romantic interest?
I don't have a romantic interest.
No kidding.
I've
Really?
I've never romanced the character in Mass Effect. I,
No way.
I'm
Really?
I'm just too impatient for it.
Wow. There's not like how it's just part of normal interaction with characters.
I don't know. I'm just doing the main missions. But
Wow. Okay.
yeah, I
So you don't socialize on the Normandy when you're like when it's a little bit of downtime. You just go to the straight to the next mission.
I buy upgrades and then I go straight to the mission.
Wow.
I
Okay.
did do the loyalty missions for the characters. I'm doing those because it
Yeah.
gives a trophy. But that's the only reason. So did you play Mass Effect 2?
Yeah. Yeah. I played and finished Mass Effect 2.
So
Played and finished Mass Effect 1. The only one I didn't finish was 3.
I have the same thing. I finished the first and second one, not the third one. So I'm in the second. You know, like you have to do missions, and then there's the part where there's a human colony where you have to go to, and then you're on the colony while the people are getting abducted by the collector, and then
Mm-hmm.
later on you have to do a couple of more missions, and then they find the collector ship that was on that planet. So I'm in that collector ship right now. You're being ambushed by the collector. So I need to fight my way out of that. I did the loyalty missions for Grunt, who's the Krogan. So you have to go back to their planet, and then they're talking about the genophage. You know how they kind of sterilized all the Krogans because they were getting
Mm-hmm.
out of control and stuff like that. So I've done that. um, I'm using somebody shared me like the optimal mission list that you can follow for the best story. So I'm following that list, which is actually pretty nice. Um, so I looked a little bit ahead. I'm in Act 3. I'm on the half, so I think with a little bit I'll get into Act. I'm in Act 2, and I'll get into Act 3 soon, and then I'll probably finish the game. So I'm thinking maybe this week. And then I don't know if I'm gonna start playing 3 after it because I bought Yakuza 3, 4, 5, and 6. It was in the sale. So I bought those, and I actually want to dive more into Yakuza because I love those games. I
You
never
said
expected it,
Yakuza,
but
it's Yakuza, bro.
it's yeah, it's Yakuza. So it's like
It's not a
it's really
jacuzzi,
nice.
man.
Yeah, I normally say Yakuza, so I don't know why I say Yakuza. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to playing Yakuza.
Mhm.
And then I've also played a little bit of I was about to say Star Wars. I don't know why. Of Call of Duty Vanguard. It had an alpha called Champion Hill. Basically,
Yep.
it's a duos tournament style arena. So you just have to fight against other people, drain their lives by killing them, and then you
Yep.
get up in the tournament. I won 2 tournaments, I think.
Oh, good for
Um,
you, because I won absolutely zero.
but you don't play a
I
lot of
did get
FPS.
better as I
Yeah.
played, but the thing with at least I don't know how your experience was with your teammates, but we both were bad at it.
Yeah.
And if when you're playing a game and you're forced to play with another player and that player is bad or you're the one that's bad,
Yeah.
it kind of puts a drain on the excitement.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I didn't really play it for long. I think I played it for maybe an hour and a half,
Okay,
and I was
well,
like, okay, I got the gist of Champion Hill,
hmm,
and I get the idea behind it. I don't think it's my kind of. Like, unless I have someone who can carry me through like a match, I don't think it's my kind of
Uh,
a game mode. Yeah,
I can
but
imagine. I
it
mean,
is
like,
interesting. It's something different.
yeah, I mean the beta is starting like in 2 weeks or something like that, and then it's just multiplayer in there, so that should be fine. I saw that there was a rumor that they were running off of the Modern Warfare engine. I think it is confirmed that it's running off of the Modern Warfare engine because they have the mounting in there, like in Modern Warfare, and the graphics look similar. Um, I hope in a way that the gunplay from Modern Warfare, the feeling that those weapons had, kind of carries over because the gunplay in Modern Warfare is really good, and I noticed in this one that it's similar. I spoke to a friend of mine, and he sent me a message the other day. He's like, "I'm surprised, but I'm really liking Vanguard because mostly they're skeptical, uh, but
Yeah,
they were yeah, like the guys I play Warzone with like are the worst group to play Warzone with because they're all like." Alpha people, and they're always like really
they're
hard
all a
in.
bunch of alpha males.
They're all a bunch of stupid alpha males, and like they have the lamest taste in games because we can only play Warzone together. Because if someone else tries to suggest another game, it's like really hard. It's like, nah, no, I don't feel like this. I only play Call of Duty. Oh no, it's just like a
uh,
really sucky group in that regard. We do have a lot of
uh.
fun, but it's just so tiresome sometimes, you know. But hey, a few of them were positive about Vanguard. I'm still waiting for Battlefield 2042. I'm going all in on that.
I know
So
you are.
I really don't. Yeah, I mean, maybe if Vanguard gets, maybe I'll buy it in like a sale. But for the time being, I am definitely not going to get it. Oh, okay.
Oh, I hope everybody's okay.
They're coming for me. But
The
yeah,
fire department is coming for you.
no, this is like either an ambulance or police.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I liked Vanguard, and then I streamed some Days Gone again twice this week. Um, yeah, I mean, I what can I say? People are probably getting bored of me talking about Days Gone, but I just love the game. You know, it's just that awesome game.
Well, you're further than where I left off, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I
I need to pick it up again, but I'm still. We'll get to where what I'm playing, but
yeah.
yeah, your streams are good. Your streams are good, at least.
Thanks.
It's fun to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah, and then like the only
It's
thing.
also fun to watch and see you get ambushed 2 times in a row.
Oh, that sucks, man. Yeah,
All right, so if you haven't played Days Gone yet, it's this post-apocalyptic action adventure game. It's like the open world. Did I say that? Yeah, I think I did.
yeah, yeah,
And one of the things that can happen when you play that game is that there are other peoples, other survivors out there who can lie in wait and ambush you while you're driving on your hog to your next destination.
yeah.
And if you're really bad luck, like Sean, they'll ambush you twice.
Yep. It's
It
something.
wasn't even like 5 minutes in between,
I
like you taking the
the
previous
annoying
team
part
down.
was I saw it happening the second time, but I was too late because I saw the rope and I was like, and then I already was too late and hit the rope.
Well, that's how that works.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, I
Oh, you should
mean,
check him out. You should check him out.
yeah,
Twitch.tv/Sean Templar, all one word. You can find it there, man. It's
yeah.
hilarious.
You know, the tricky part is that I try to keep it E for everyone, so I'm really struggling sometimes with not cursing, because
Mhm.
normally I would just curse, you know, because just to let the frustration out, but I can't now. So that's
Yeah.
like one of the things I'm like, okay. Um, and yeah, I mean the tricky part is like it's I really appreciate the support and I really love that people come by and have chats and talk and stuff like that. It just sometimes I'm it's hard for me to keep talking or saying something because you don't want to
Mhm.
watch somebody that's just a mute and focused on the game and not paying attention to chat. But sometimes I'm just enjoying the game and then I'm forgetting that I need to focus on chat. And like the cool part is that on the PlayStation, if you stream directly from it, you just get a message on screen when somebody says something. But
Yeah.
like sometimes you have to initiate something, or you have to keep talking so people can respond to it. And that's like the one thing I'm struggling with right now. But I think like the more you do it, the more you get better at it or easier with it. I mean, like I don't have the nerves that I had in the beginning, that I was a little bit nervous before I started streaming. That's like all gone. So now it's like yeah.
It's basically like playing a video game with your friends, except your friends are not on the couch with you. They
Yep.
are various distances around the world,
Yep. But that's what I
and
like about
they're
streaming.
they're
That
they're responding to you in text form.
yeah, in delayed text form. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's
delayed
what
one.
I like about streaming, is that it gives you the feeling that you're playing games with your friends. It's just that you're in the driver's seat and they just get to tag along and watch you drive poorly on a bike in my case, but that's okay.
It
Uh,
happened the first time too. Like you kept crashing into like everything.
the first 10 minutes of my first stream, I just kept hitting the same tree, and then eventually, I spoke to a friend of mine afterwards. He's like, "You have. I don't hope you have a driver's license because you cannot drive." And he drove with, and I'm like, "Well, you survived the journey over here with me in my car, so you know how that goes."
Well, cars, sure, but I'm never stepping behind you on a motorcycle.
Oh, I wouldn't dare to get on a motorcycle. I'll probably kill myself. Yeah,
uh,
and yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, there's not a lot I've been playing besides Days Gone and Mass Effect, and um, I'm actually happy. I'm just, I don't try to play a lot because it kind of distracts. I mean, I've played the occasional Warzone, um, but that's like regular. I just got, like 10 minutes ago, I got a message from a friend saying, "You want to jump in a few matches of Call of Duty multiplayer?" Like I haven't played Call of Duty multiplayer for like months, so. Um,
that ought to be fun.
yeah, that's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically what I've been playing. What have you been playing?
Well, I've been dabbling in a lot of stuff. I was still streaming Secret of Mana, so that's still going on. I took a break from that this week around, and I was actually gonna stream on Sunday, but yeah, I was way too tired by the end of the day. So I was like, plus I was like, you know what, I'm too tired. I'm just gonna support you and watch what you're doing
Thank you.
and see you get ambushed multiple
Though I
times.
must
And
say that,
you had a horde suddenly coming after you
yeah,
for no reason.
oh man, it felt like a chain reaction. All that stuff happening at the same time. But I must
Oh
say
man.
that like people are missing out. If they don't look at your Secret of Mana streams, they are definitely missing out because of the voice acting you've introduced into the game. I remember the first time I had your stream open, but I was doing something at the same time. I was reading something on my computer, and then I suddenly hear you do the voice acting. I'm like, what the hell is that? Who is that? I didn't expect it. I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then you're like, I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I checked all the tabs that were open, and then I suddenly came to your tab. I'm like, is this guy voice acting? And it's hilarious. It's hilarious. I would recommend it to everyone to watch it because it's just it's something.
Jokes on you! I'm not the only one that apparently does that kind of stuff on
Really?
stream. Yeah,
Oh,
I was on another stream yesterday, and there was this guy playing Final Fantasy 9, and he was doing the same thing.
oh, nice.
Not for every scene, but like for like major scenes, he was doing it.
Mm.
And I was like,
I
oh, thank goodness, I'm not the only one that does that. He's like, no, yeah, of course, because there's no voice acting, and it's just more fun to do it that way.
it
Yeah, that's true.
it definitely is. It's unique. I can give you that.
Yeah. So I played that, and I played a bunch of other stuff. So like we already talked about before, we played Vanguard, not together, just separately. Like even Sean didn't know that I was playing
I
Vanguard.
was surprised. Yeah.
I played the Riders Republic open beta.
Oh, how was that?
That was a thing. It's so I was. I'm just gonna say up straight up, it's a game that I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to play. And after the beta, I'm still looking forward to playing it. The only gripe that I have is the control schemes
Yes.
is a bit cumbersome because it's basically a one. It's kind of a one control scheme fits all. But
Hmm.
apparently, what they did, from what I heard from other people that have played it, that have played Ubisoft's other extreme sport game, Steep,
Yes.
at least, and when it comes to because Steep is like specifically like snowboarding, and I think snowboarding and wingsuit, and they said like the controls for Steep, it's basically they just airlifted that, put it in Riders Republic, at least for those two parts. I'm like, okay, that makes sense because like the snowboarding feels relatively solid. It's still something to get used to.
Hmm.
They're not doing the thing that like Skate was doing, and they're also not doing what Tony Hawk games do.
Okay.
So it's kind of a little bit in between those two in terms of, well, you can have it set to automatic or you can have it set to manual. I played manual because automatic is fine, but the downside is you don't get extra points when you're doing automatic. When you do manual, you have to land yourself, and it has to be perfect so that you can get extra points for the landing.
Mm.
My problem was with the bike part, which is the first thing that they introduced to you. They introduced basically every sport. Um, After like a couple of races, they'll introduce the next sport.
Yeah.
So the first sport they introduced was like downhill racing on bikes,
Hmm.
and the bike controls are so weird. And the way Riders Republic works, I didn't expect it to work the way that it does. Is because it's a multiplayer. It's kind of like an MMO in the sense
Okay.
that you have a lot of people playing together. I think on next gen consoles it's 64 players in the
Okay.
play area, but in current gen, because I have a PlayStation 4, in current gen it's only 20, which is
Okay.
fine. But you are and you are not there at the same time.
Okay.
So when you're in the hub world, when you're not doing a instant race, it's all of you there, right?
Yes.
So it'll show a maximum of 20 people, but if you look at the map, you like see like hundreds of people like in parts of the area just riding around and doing stuff. When you're in a race, it's an instance,
Okay.
but the other players there are not there live. It's their time trial ghost.
Oh, okay.
So you can like you there is some collision and you can like bump into other players as characters, but you can't, they won't veer off,
Hmm.
kind of. So like you bump into them but it doesn't really affect you that much, kind of, sort of. And you do have like that infamous rewind feature,
Yeah.
like
It's also
if
in
you've played
Formula
the
One.
Crew or any other like racing game,
Yeah,
you have
it's in
that
Formula
rewind
One as
feature.
well.
Exactly, where Formula One has it too. And it rewinds you, but not the other racers.
Well, that's interesting.
Which is, yeah, because it's not about if you technically it's not about you coming in first.
Yeah.
It's about you getting the fastest time.
Okay.
So it feels more like you're constantly playing time trials, like like ghost time trials, instead of
Hmm.
an actual race. You're not racing against actual people, you're racing against their racing time.
Interesting.
And that's a little bit of a bummer because technically it doesn't matter if you come in first or if you come in last, as long as your time is the fastest, you will still get points.
Is it fun?
Snowboarding and the wingsuit were fun.
Okay.
The bike racing downhill was challenging because I had to do a lot of rewinds to a point where during one race I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna rewind. I'm just gonna start the whole race from scratch because at this point I'm not gonna have a good time set anyways.
Hmm.
So that I might as well just restart the whole race. So I did, and I actually placed well. I actually got in like a good time, and there were some times where I got like the second best time on that hill. So it's like, okay,
Nice.
that's when you get used to the controls, it's fine. The tutorials aren't that great because apparently I missed the part where it teaches you how to pedal.
Yeah.
So I was like trying to go downhill, and all I did was just press forward so that my character leans forward to make speed. I did not know that you had to hold R2 to pedal to top
Oh.
speed.
Okay.
So I was like, the only other thing that I knew how to do was steer and brake and do tricks, but not how to pedal.
I would say that in such a game that pedaling would be just multiple taps on X, for example. That makes more sense than using
Yeah,
R2. So,
no, because they're using the face buttons for tricks. So if you want to
mm,
jump,
yeah,
jumping is also weird. When you want to jump, and I'm assuming that this is also the way it worked in Steep. When you want to jump and you want to do a trick, you can I do one of two things. You either hold X to crouch,
yeah.
and then right before you head off the ramp, you release X and then press and hold triangle
Wow.
for either a vertical flip forward or a vertical flip forward, or if you want to go back, you have to hold X first, sorry, triangle first, and then when you're about to jump, switch to X so that you then go backwards and do a backflip.
I'm
And if you
already
want to do it
confused.
sideways, see what I mean?
I'm
If you
already
want to go
confused.
sideways, you have to hold the square button and then switch to the circle button right when you get off the ramp so that you can do a spin. And if you want to do it the other way, it's the other way.
I'm not gonna play that game.
So that took a while to get used to. Um, but it is like it's challenging. But when you nail like a front grab 360,
Yeah.
it's pretty solid.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's pretty
yeah.
cool because it's like the mental gymnastics that you have to do to pull that off is like, yeah, you really have to think about like what trick that you want to do, and you have to commit to it. If you don't commit to it, you'll crash and burn. And I did
Wow.
that a lot of times on the
It-
snowboard.
okay. It's coming
So
out soon, so
it's coming out soon. Am I gonna pick it up? Probably not. I think I would still get it on Ubisoft's like X Play Plus thing or
Uplay
Uplay Plus or
Plus.
whatever,
Yeah.
um, just to see it there and then check it out. Because then I can just play it on GeForce now and see how that goes. And if I do, I might stream it because it is something that is fun that the presentation and stuff. It seems fun enough to stream. Plus, when you're in the open world, it's kind of fun. You eventually unlock a snowmobile, so if you're like in the snowy areas, you can just like summon the snowmobile, and then you can snowmobile to the next event.
Nice.
Or you can just switch to your bike. You can walk. You can switch to your snowboard. You can say, "Hey, I'm just gonna fly there." You can do that too. That's pretty cool. Like the open world part is only when you can go to like the next event
Okay.
because all the areas are technically interconnected. But as soon as you're in a race, it's like in an instant.
Mm. Okay.
But I hope if there are any other things that I missed because I only played it for like 2 hours or so. If there's anything that they're missed that they got the feedback that they needed to get, oh my goodness, I just pulled out my lights. And yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. I hope like there's nothing they can do about it in terms of like improving the controls. So I think when it comes to the controls, it's a matter of getting used to it.
Okay.
Outside of that, I still playing Death Stranding.
How
I'm
far
on.
along are you?
I think I'm. Where am I again? I think I'm on episode 5 or 6.
Okay.
The episode is called Cliff.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay.
So I think I'm on that episode. And good grief, this story just keeps getting weird, doesn't it?
I know.
Yeah, I think
But
I'm
that's
almost
like the charm of
on
the
the West
game.
Coast. Yeah, I'm almost at the West Coast, and now it's getting really hard because you're mostly in the mountains
Yep.
and it's mostly snow, and I hate it.
But don't you
I
have an
hate it a lot.
exoskeleton?
So I have the exoskeleton, the all terrain one.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps, but the vehicles kind of suck in the snowy environment.
Hmm.
There's always snow time fall, which is 10 times worse. Um, I never have enough of those container sprays, which fantastic. And for some reason, there are mission critical. I am doing mission critical. I'm doing story critical missions
Hmm.
that all involve so many big packages
Yeah.
that I can't carry them all in one go.
Don't you have the little carry-ons that you can attach to yourself that follow you?
Yeah, but I doesn't it get snagged on the mountains? Because that's the only reason I haven't used them yet.
No, because they attach to you, and as long as you don't do crazy stuff, then they'll just follow you wherever you go
Oh
because they're
god,
tethered
so
to
I have to
you.
do that, don't I?
And
Yeah, I
as for the
know.
timefall, you can build these. I don't know if you already have it,
The
but you
timefall shelters, I
yeah,
know.
you can build like this umbrella, and then it also fixes your gear.
Yeah, the timefall shelters are pretty great.
Yeah.
But then I saw what they are introducing into the director's cut. And it's like, okay, so there's apparently this stabilizer that I haven't gotten yet because I haven't gotten far enough to the game to get
Hmm.
more new gear. I'm like, okay, there's still stuff that I have to look forward to.
There's a lot of gear
And
in it.
yeah, no kidding. Holy smokes. I was like, I tried to like keep up with like everything that's coming out, and it's like, oh, now you have all these guns, and you have all these items that you can use, and like some of them are handy. Like for example, the thermal pad that you can put onto your body, which is kind of
Hmm.
funny because it glows like ET. um, and it keeps you warm so that your stamina doesn't deplete as quickly. But geez, that snow is really,
Yep.
and it's even worse because when you're in a timefall storm and you get caught by a BT, oh
Ah,
my goodness, that's so friggin' annoying.
yep. Did you already get the grenades
Yeah, I got the
with your
you
blood?
get the grenades very early on.
Yeah.
I got the guns that fire the blood.
You know, the funny part is that I felt that the as soon as you got the grenades that contain your blood, it became a little bit OP because
Oh, the
you have.
grenades are OP because the guns are crap.
Yeah, the grenades are OP. So like what I would do is I would stock up on a lot of blood and then stock up on a lot of grenades, and I could like easily take on any BT or any boss. So like I wish they kind of made that a bit more gradual or a little bit more harder. But like eventually when you get to the boss fights, it's like really easy because you know, oh, I have to make sure that I have enough blood, and then I have to fill up the grenade and then throw it at his head. And then if you just do that a couple of times, then you just beat the boss. So like that's the only gripe I have with the game, that the boss fights are, or as soon as you get the grenades, it becomes really easy.
Hmm.
They're not forcing you to change tactics or anything.
Yeah, true. I thought like, oh, the guns are gonna be better because bullets, but no, they're
The
not
grenade
better.
launchers, but yeah, you get those later, or the bazookas, you know.
Ooh, okay, I haven't gotten to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been playing that offline, of course, because I want to like get the full immersion of the story. And I feel like, and I already told said this before, but the only reason I stopped streaming Death Stranding is because like the story cutscenes are really long, and if I have to interrupt it by interacting with the chat, no offense to chat, um, but I wouldn't be getting the full gravitas of the game's
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Uh,
And I was the funny thing is I was expecting like a big package, and so the postman brought the big package in like to my house, and I was playing Death Stranding, so it was on my TV. They were like, "Oh, what game are you playing?" I'm just like, "I'm playing Death Stranding." Oh, what's it about? And then you have to explain to a postal worker that you're playing a game where you're essentially a postal worker trying to reconnect America.
yeah. How did that work out?
Oh my goodness! I just explained to it, and they're like, "Oh, that's interesting." They're like, It sure
It's basically my
is."
job without a car.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, it's so weird. I am kind of looking forward to the director's cut, mostly because it's relatively cheaper.
I think the
For games
upgrade's
that they've
like
had
10
just
bucks.
upgraded is like 10, yeah, $10 or
Yeah.
something like that. So I'm willing to do that, but I want to finish the game first before I get it.
Yeah.
So
But
I
even if
just
you
have to plow
don't
it.
have the game, I mean, I'm surprised it's only 50 bucks if you buy it full out. Because
Yeah.
I have to buy it full because I don't have a I have a digital PlayStation 5. But like That's the reason why I'm going with Death Stranding over Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima's 80. This one's
Mhm.
50. Yeah, I mean, I like both games, but then the choice is easy. I'll buy Death Stranding, and I don't intend on streaming it because I want to, experience that all over again offline. Um, but yeah, I don't understand why that one is 50 and Ghost of Tsushima is 80.
I don't know either. You have to ask Sony. At least it's tolerable.
Yeah.
So we don't, can't look a gift horse in the mouth. So outside of that, I also got another game, another retro game.
Oh,
I don't have it with me because it's in my DS Lite. Uh, I should have put it here because I'm playing it. I want to play it on the Game Boy player on my GameCube because it's Mega Man Battle Network, which is a RPG from back in 2001 when the Game Boy Advance launched.
oh wow,
And it's a really good Mega Man game. It's a really good Mega Man series because there were like six other games that came out of it. The game is 20 years old this year. It turned
wow.
20 March of this year. And Capcom did zero. As far as I can tell, they didn't even acknowledge the fact that it turned 20.
Oh,
Maybe if I go back to their Twitter account, they might have posted something on the launch day for it. But yeah, I can't find anything about it, and it really sucks. It's a good game. It's like the first couple of games were really good, and that's kind of how Mega Man games tend to be. Like the first three, four ish games are like solid, and then it's literally just rinse and repeat.
okay.
Because they keep like with each iteration they keep adding new mechanics to it, but by the fourth game they're not really adding new mechanics. Maybe just improving like the game engine and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I started playing this one again because I bought it used, and oh man, the nostalgic feelings, man, so good. Like the music is so good, and like the battle mechanics is something that I haven't played in like a really long time because it's the first game, and I'm still very fairly early in the story. But I kind of hit a roadblock with one of the optional battles that you can do, and it's like, oh my gosh, why is this one stupid optional battle so hard? Like
Okay.
it's unnecessarily hard because the character that you have to beat, like when the health is like lower than a quarter, it
Mm-hmm.
starts doing this move where it basically allows itself to heal up almost 50 over 50%. And if you don't have enough healing items, you can't use them. So my health is like at 40 the whole time out of 240, and it keeps blinking, and then the stupid enemy heals up again. It's like you have to basically start from scratch. And I don't have
Sound
enough health, and you have to be very careful because it randomly attacks you. It telegraphs it, but if you're so twitchy and like on edge, it doesn't help
it
at
sounds like a
all.
Souls game.
No, it's not a Souls game, but gosh darn it, is it annoying.
Ah, okay.
At least that specific battle. The game itself is relatively doable. It's starting to get a little bit more challenging, but yeah, I'm not even a quarter through the story, so it's still very early. Uh, it also had an anime, so I started watching the anime again,
Nice.
and I watched through the whole anime. It's like 56 episodes.
Holy shit. Like you don't have anything better to do.
I do it whenever I can fit in like an episode here or there.
Mm.
So yeah, like the anime was actually that's one of the first. Okay, it's not one of the first that I watched. It's one of the first that I was able to obtain in a certain way to watch it because it was the Japanese version with fan subs. And oh my goodness, like if sorry, it's a little bit of an anime rant, but how far we have come from the days of fan subs to where we now get official the subtitles on anime that are like solid and not guesstimating and just making it edgy for edgy's sake, where they put in swears where no swear was uttered. Yeah, it's weird, but
Smiling and nodding, smiling and nodding. I don't watch anime.
So I've been playing Mega Man Battle Network. I also found my freeloader disc for GameCube, which allows me to play region locked games, so like US games, Japanese games. And I have
Nice.
two US games. One of them is Custom Robo, so I booted it up real quickly and played like a round. And I was like, oh, that's really cool and it's really fun. And it's also another RPG by Skip and published by Nintendo. It's a Nintendo IP. And I was like, gosh darn it, I kind of want to stream this, but I have no way of hooking up my GameCube to my computer to stream it.
Ah,
If I could, I would, because then I would just play Mega Man on that on streams next to like Secret of Mana and just do that and have a good time. So now I'm just playing through it just to have fun. And lastly, I've been playing Genshin Impact.
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, you know why I'm playing Genshin flipping Impact?
Because of the Horizon skin.
Because of the stupid Horizon random stuff that you can
That's
get.
how you get how they get you. I
That's
think
how
you
they
said
get
that
you.
last time.
Exactly. That is what I said the last time. That's how they get you. Because it's the first collab that they're doing. Like up until this, like the game has been out for
2 years, I
well
think.
over a year now, and this is the first collab that they're doing. Like just flat out. Like normally you would have collabs before you hit the 6 month mark, and now we're heading. I think we've either hit the 1 year or about to hit 1 year, and only now we're getting like the first collab, and that's a pretty big one if you think about it, because it's a. I'm pretty sure it's only PlayStation exclusive. So if you're playing on mobile, you're not getting the Aloy skin. If I'm not mistaken.
I think you're
Like
right.
you can't get it. You can't get Aloy. You have to play it on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 because it has backwards compatibility. I think it actually did get a PlayStation 5
It did.
update. So I'm not. I don't know. I don't have a PlayStation 5, so I don't know how if it looks better. I'm assuming it just runs at 4K native now
With
because
60
it's not that.
FPS.
Yeah, because it's honestly not that graphically intense of a game if it can run on mobile. Not okay. Not to discount mobile because mobile these days actually does some pretty cool stuff like with graphics. But still, yeah. So I've been playing that again. The only difference is I played it mostly on mobile, and the saves are not cross save. So I basically had to start from the beginning because the last time I played on my PlayStation 4, I was still in the pro.
Oh my god. Happy
So
days.
I have to get because I think the collab is like a week, and I that means I have to get through the prologue stuff so that I can actually get to the
You have
yeah
to
get to do those kind of events.
you have to get to a certain level, and if you don't,
Yeah,
the outfit will be added later in update 2.1 or something like that. So
yeah,
outfit will be available at a later
yeah.
point
But then
again.
you have to like, but then you have to do the gotcha, and then it's like a random toss up.
I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing that, and I think that's about it.
Awesome. You played
Oh
more
no,
than I
sorry.
did.
There was one more thing, and I did live stream it, and that was the WarioWare Get It Together demo on Switch. Um, Played that on stream for like about an hour and a half. Really fun, really unique. If you have a Switch, I would recommend downloading the demo and checking it out yourself. If you don't have it or you don't feel like wasting space on it, the VOD is on my channel. You can check it there. Um, and then I played a little bit of Sonic Mania and got really frustrated online for the first time on stream.
Nice.
Now I'm like, I'm never playing Sonic again on stream because I
Uh,
because I get really really agitated when I don't get to when I keep losing the whole
uh,
time. And I was also playing as Sonic, so it's like 10 times harder instead of playing as Tails, the best character.
mm,
Um, that's my opinion. I am a Tails fan. You don't have to add me on that one. Tails is just awesome. And that's
smiling
it.
and nodding, smiling and nodding.
Always smiling and nodding.
I don't play it, so there's not much I can say about it. Smiling and nodding.
Hmm. All right. Well, while you smile and nod, can you do the honors?
I will try. Um, so yeah, thank you everyone again for tuning in to another episode of Game Rivals. Um, you can find us on all your favorite podcasting platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Overcast, Anchor. You can reach out to us by email, gamerivals at female.
Female.
I don't know why. Game Rivals at feed. What? Game Rivals feedback at gmail.com.
There you go. Third time's a
Uh,
charm.
yeah, slow and singable at the time. We're also on YouTube, so this episode is no longer audio only; it's also video only. You can find us on YouTube. The link is in the description. Um, as I've said before, I'm not a fan, but unfortunately, I have to say this. Please consider liking and subscribing, as it helps us out a lot. Um, Also, if you like the content, please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or your other platform. The tricky part is that discoverability really sucks when it comes to podcasting platforms. So the more good reviews we get, the more our content is discovered by others.
And
Which
more
means,
people can enjoy our antics.
yeah, more people can enjoy Game Rivals. So basically that. Um, we're on Twitter, game underscore rivals underscore. Maximilian is also on Twitter at Maximilian. Um, we're both on Twitch, twitch.tv/ Maximilian underscore X and twitch.tv / Sean Templar. Um, we're also on Instagram at Maximilian underscore X and at Game Rivals. And with that, I think I've covered them all.
Yes, you have.
On that note, I have been and always will be Sean Templar,
And I have been and will always be Maximilian X.
and we will catch you on the next one.
Later.